Hey fam, Jonathan here, and today I'm going to teach you one really simple little trick that's not only going to enhance your ab gains, all the exercises that you do for your abs, is going to make them better and more effective, but it might just save your lower back. And I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. Again, this thing's super simple, but when you bring it into practice, when you concentrate on it, it's going to make a huge difference, especially in your ab workout. But really, you can actually, of course, since your core is used in every exercise, pretty much, you can apply this to anything. But we're going to talk about it in the context specifically of one ab exercise that we've all probably done at some point, and one that many of us have felt some pressure or tension at the lower back when we're doing. Personally, I've had a lot of clients who struggle with this exercise, with doing it in a range of motion that is safe for their back. This, of course, is just a very simple exercise called the leg lift. So just for a quick reference, a leg lift is that one where you lay down, you get your legs up in the air, you bring them down, and then you bring them back up. Now this is a lower abdominal primarily exercise. The issue with this is that most people, when they come down, they do this and they'll arch, even if it's not this extreme, but they'll start to feel that pressure in the lower back, and then when they come up, there's still compression at the lower back. So how are we going to fix that? Well, let me show you a little trick here. This is what we're here to learn today, is how can I help so that I don't have that swayingness to the back. We're going to bring our attentions, surprisingly perhaps, up to the jaw and the throat. Yes, that's right. This doesn't really have anything to do with your abs. You're going to feel it in your abs, and it's going to change the way your abs work. But the action that you're thinking about actually has more to do with your jaw and your throat. And I want you just to think about this. When you sit all day, when we all sit in our cars and our computers, especially at those computers, especially while we're working all stressed out, we sit like this. So what this does is, of course, we can see that there's the crush at the neck, there's the round at the back, all these things that we all are well aware of. But the thing that we might not notice is that part of what's really happening, if we actually look into the bone structure, if we did an x-ray of this, is that the jaw is sliding forward. The bottom jaw is kind of sliding forward. And you might even kind of catch yourself occasionally with a little, almost like a little sad lip as the jaw shoots out, especially if you're laying down on your belly and you're like looking at your phone, doing this kind of thing. Now that, believe it or not, this whole spine thing that you have, it's all connected. So if you start to act on one part, the cervical spine up here, there's going to be reactions throughout the rest of the spine. Obviously, the whole thing moves together. Now the problem with that is that when we can essentially think of the neck or your throat here as being your upper core. So in the same way that we always cue people, draw in your abs, brace the abs around that lower spine, the cervical spine up here has a system similar to that draws in and brings strength and support to the cervical spine, so that instead of here, we're pulling in like this. So this is the whole trick. When you're doing, really again, any exercise, because they all use your abs, and we want all of them to have a drawn in transverse abdominis here, but in order to get that to happen, a lot of people don't have very good mental control over that TVA, and sometimes, even if you're trying to pull it in, if you're causing this arch at the neck, you're not going to be able to pull it in. So what we're going to be practicing while we do this is just feeling the jaw draw in. Essentially, we want this to happen. I'll move so that you can see what happens at my belly. From here, you'll notice that the abdominals are kind of soft, the belly's kind of out. And all I'm going to think about is pulling my jaw in. Pulling it in, and right about there, you'll see that there's a little lock of the transverse abdominis pulling in. Now, I didn't think about that. And again, we don't necessarily want to think about that. Most people, if they try to engage their abs, they'll just crunch anyway. They won't get that. So we're thinking about getting it to react by getting our head and our neck in place, getting that jaw pulled into place. So let's bring this down into the actual exercise, the leg lift that we're looking at today. So this is what I commonly see. With almost everyone that feels the lower back in this exercise, you'll also see people doing this. If your neck is doing this while you're doing it, you're greatly increasing the chance that your back is going to sway as well, from the same example that we just saw a moment ago when I was sitting up. If I stick that chin out, then my upper back rounds, my lower back arches, and all that stuff falls apart. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my legs back up, of course start with the flat back, but then I'm going to You can even see it react here in the belly. I'm going to pull my jaw in, watch what happens. And now, while I'm looking down at my sternum, my chest, I'm being very mindful as I go to keep trying to pull my jaw in, almost like you're trying to give yourself an underbite, or almost like you're trying to flatten the back of your neck towards the ground. You will feel a significant amount more work actually being done in the abs if you do this. And again, it will help to protect your lower back from moving into that flange, that extreme hyperextension position with the legs out that long. That's a lot of weight falling on those vertebrae, and we don't want that. So again, you still want to practice in a range of motion that actually feels good for your body, but you might notice that range of motion increasing if you're able to do this, because you're able to pull that in and keep that strong. The other thing you might notice is that you might do less reps than you're used to, but you might feel it way more. This is because you're actually using the muscles, the lower abdominals specifically, that you were trying to target in that exercise, which you might not have even been getting, especially if you've been feeling your back the whole time. So that's the little tip for today. This will improve every ab exercise. And again, you guys, every exercise is an ab exercise, whether you're squatting, deadlifting, if you're running, if you're doing anything, all of these activities, if you're doing yoga, lifting weights, swinging kettlebells, whatever, all of these activities will benefit from having that transverse abdominis in. And a lot of times, the keystone isn't down here, it's up here. Last thing I'll say is this. If you are doing this up here, think about it this way. The whole stack is squeezing down. It's disabling those internal abs from drawing in. So until we get this up, you pull those ribs up by lengthening the back of the neck here, we won't even really be able to get a proper TVA or transverse abdominis engagement. So that's just something to think about, but don't think about it, try it. The next time you're doing some squats or some ab exercises or whatever, or even just taking a walk, even just laying in your bed, try it out. Pull that jaw in, see if you can get how that lifts and opens the ribs by drawing in the transverse. So that's your little secret trick for today, you guys. Try it out. Let me know in the comments if it works for you, if it feels different, if it didn't work for you. Because I want this to work for you guys, and sometimes when you're exploring new things, you might just be doing it a little wrong. So if you feel it and it doesn't feel right, let me know. If you feel it and it totally works for you, let me know too, because I think it's a great tip. It's worked really well for me and all my clients, and I want you to be able to use it so you can get not only the abs that you like to see, but strong internal abdominals that support that lower back and spine. That's it, you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful night or day wherever you are. Take care out there and train hard, but train smart as well.